Hello and welcome to day 11 of the Card Making Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 14 brand new paper craft card making ideas with you in 14 days. Today, we've got Sharpies, we've got acetate. So can you guess what we're making? It is Faux stained glass effect greetings cards. We'll be colouring on acetate using Sharpies to make this beautiful stained glass inspired card front. It looks so pretty with all the light coming through. And then to make sure you can see all the lovely colours, we've got a white insert inside the card. See how vibrant that looks. What's really nice is that when the cards are up on display and the light shines through, it's not going to be possible for me to show. Oh, it is. It is going to be possible for me to show you. I thought it wouldn't be because I'm not actually near a window. I've just got my camera lights. But when it's up on display, you get this lovely shadowing effect on the insert where all the colours reflect off of that acetate. It's super pretty and they're really easy to make. This would be a great kids craft to do too if you get all the pieces cut out and then let them colour it in. 3 designs are included in today's download. We've got this Christmas candle. There's a landscape scene with mountains and a big sunshine. And this pretty mandala. If you don't have any Sharpies, but you'd still like to make these cards, you could try painting on the acetate instead, perhaps with acrylic paint. Or instead of using acetate, you could use window cling, which is sort of a patterned plastic material that often comes with sort of rainbow hues in it. So when the light shines through, you'll get rainbow colours coming through it. Or if you're feeling very adventurous and you're not afraid of having a fair bit to clean up at the end of it, you could try putting glue on all of the different sections and then sprinkling glitter on, and then have coloured glitter through all the holes instead. Or for the sparkle that's a little bit easier, perhaps something like glitter glue or Nuvo drops would work nicely as well. So lots of options, make the most of your craft stash, and let's find out where to get the downloads to make these stained glass effect cards. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Card Making Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/cards25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/cards25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Card Making Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, then go to Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then click Browse to find the files on your computer, or drag and drop them in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of your download folder, and then go into the subfolder called Cutting Machine Versions. Within there, you can see all the different file types available. If you're using a Cricut, you want to go in the SVG Files folder. So I'll double click in there, and then this is my 3 different SVG files for the 3 cards. You can see in the file names which one they are. We've got the candle, the landscape scene, and the mandala. They all work in exactly the same way, so I'll just show it to you with one of the cards for this video, and I'm going to choose the candle. I'll click and drag that in, and this is what it looks like. Press continue, and then upload, and it will insert onto your canvas. There are a couple of things we need to do before this is ready to cut. First, I'm going to add some score lines to the base card and the white insert. If you don't have a scoring wheel or stylus, you can leave this step out. To add the scoring lines, press the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel and then click away to deselect everything. Go into Shapes and choose a score line and set it to the height of the card, which is 7 inches, unless you're doing the mandala one, which is a square one, and that is 5.75 inches. Drag a box to select the base card and that score line, You can see in the layers panel, I've got the line and that base card selected, but nothing else. Press Align, Center to put the scoreline exactly in the middle of the card. Then to tell the Cricut that we want it to do the scoring in this exact position, with those two layers still selected, press Attach at the bottom of the layers panel. That joins the scoreline onto the base card. And then I'll do the same thing for my white insert. Go to Shapes, choose a scoreline, and let's move it over here. Set it to the height. I'm going to click this just to check it. It's 6.75 inches. So a little bit smaller than the base card. Drag a box that selects both those layers and nothing else. Press Align, Center, and then Attach. And then everything else is ready to cut. You'll notice that you've got 2 copies of the stained glass design. This is one to go on the front of the card, then your acetate will go in the middle, and then the other picture is a reversed mirror image which will go on the back. That means that your card will look beautiful even when you open it up. You won't see the back of all of your drawing. It will look beautiful and pretty and decorated on both sides. What's important to note is that the green shapes are designed to be cut from acetate. This is what you'll be doing the colouring in on for the stained glass card. So just remember, green equals acetate, everything else is cardstock. For the white insert, you could cut this from white paper, such as printer paper, instead of cardstock. It's completely up to you how thick and heavy you want that to be. When you're happy with how everything's looking, press Make on the top of the screen, and that will separate out all the colours. You can change the paper size in the drop down here, and you will need to do that for every single colour if you want to change them. I'm going to try and fit both of my black pieces onto one bit of card. So I'm going to click the arrow and hold the Shift key down to rotate 90 degrees and move it up. Then go on to the second sheet, click the 3 little dots and then Move Object. Click the other black sheet and confirm, and then rotate this round too. See, Design Space thought I needed 2 sheets of my black card, but I don't. I can absolutely get away with just cutting them on one. So go ahead and get everything how you're happy with it, and then press Continue and follow the steps to get everything cut out from your cardstock. When you're cutting out your acetate, the cut setting to use will vary a little bit depending on the thickness of acetate that you're using. There is an acetate setting within Design Space, but I've never had much luck with that, at actually getting it to cut through. So I tend to use the craft board setting, and that works beautifully with my acetate. That's craft with a K. You might need to play about with a couple of different settings before you find the one that works for your particular type of acetate. Here are all of the copies of my candle card cut out. I've got my acetate sheet, 2 copies of the stained glass design, my base card, the white insert, and then the frame, which will sit on top. Start by taking one of the stained glass designs and turn it upside down. Get some glue or double-sided tape and run it around the edge about halfway into the black. Then take the acetate and stick it on top. The acetate goes almost but not quite to the edge. There'll be a little bit of space on each side. And then gently push it down to get it to stick. Don't push it down too hard, otherwise you might smush the glue out into where it will be visible in the gaps of the stained glass design. So I'm just being quite careful to put it down there. Then I would recommend leaving it for the glue to dry before you start the colouring. I'm not going to do that just because that would be a very long time to wait to carry on with this video. But the danger of starting the colouring now is that as you go over it with your hand, you push down the glue and smush it out too much, so it starts coming into the spaces you can see. Whereas if you leave it to dry fully first, you won't have that problem. To get the stained glass effect, I'm using coloured Sharpies. So I've got a selection here. And if you don't have Sharpies, you can use any of the alternatives that I spoke about at the start of this video. We're colouring onto the back here, and then it will end up getting sandwiched between the other one, so it will look lovely from the front and the back. I actually did that the wrong way around because they'll line up exactly if you get them the right way. There we go. When you're drawing with Sharpies on acetate, it takes a while for the ink to dry, which means it can be smudged quite easily. Therefore, I recommend working in a way where you're not going to be dragging your hand over the design a lot. If you're right-handed, that means starting on the left and then moving over to the right. If you're left-handed like me, start on the right and then carry on to the left so that you're not always dragging your hand over that wet ink. So I'm going to make a start on my outer border first and do a combination of green and red. When you're drawing on with the Sharpies, you probably will be able to see the lines where you go down with each stroke. You can lessen that effect by going over it more than once, but only go over it once it's completely dry. If I was to try and go over this now while the ink is still wet, it will probably just end up picking the ink off and making it even streakier than it might otherwise have been. I'm just going to go down them all once, and because we're sticking another bit on the back of this, it doesn't matter if you go over the lines because you won't see it when it's got the other bit stuck on the back. What I am trying to do though is to keep all of the lines of my pen going in the same direction to make it look a little bit neater. You see I'm going up and down in vertical movements as I'm colouring. Then that's that side done. Let's take a look from the front. Don't put it down on your surface because, as I said, that ink will still be wet. And this is what it's looking like so far. Don't worry if it doesn't look like it's very dramatic. It will get better when it's put in the card with the white insert behind it. And to make it darker or a more obvious colour, once the ink has dried, so give it a few hours, then you can go over it again and that will darken up the colour. I'll show you an example of that in a little while. And then move on to the next colour. I'm only doing this part of the border right now because I don't want to do the whole thing and then have to try and get my hand in the middle without grabbing any of that ink. When you move on to larger areas, it's up to you. You can either still try and go in the up and down way like this, or you can go in a different direction, or you can just move your pen however you want. It's completely up to you. For example, I could go that way to follow the lines and do it like this. I know I've now jumped over to the other side. It's just so I can show the different techniques more than anything. Or you can just colour it however you want without paying any attention to what direction you're going in. So here I'm sort of purposefully going a little bit all over the place, and then we'll have a look at it from the front, see how it looks. Right, so that side I've gone just wherever I want to, and this side, and I've made that more difficult. I should have done this one first. I'm going to just go up and down. Let's take a look, see if we can see a difference. The answer is not really. Let's put my white underneath. I won't make it touch because otherwise it will mark it. So this is the one where I went up and down, and this is the one where I went every which way. And you can see the brush strokes a little bit on both of them, but it didn't really make a difference. So however you want to colour should be absolutely fine. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera and then show you what it looks like when it's all done. Here's what my candle looks like from the back. Now it's all been coloured in, and I've also gone over some of the sections more than once to make the colours a bit deeper. And this is what it looks like from the front. It's really got that stained glass effect. It's really pretty. If we compare the colours to the original, where I've only gone over it once, you can see that orange and the yellow in the middle, and also the bits around the edge, are much deeper on this one, where it's got the 2 layers of colour on them. So if you're not happy with how the colours are looking to start with, go over it again once it's all completely dry, and then you'll get that deeper colour. Alright, so this one is ready for me to continue putting into the card. Turn it upside down and get your glue again. And once again, do a line about halfway into the black. So this time the glue's going on top of the acetate. Like that. Take your copy of the stained glass panel. Make sure you've got it the right way round so that it's going to line up. So for this one, I need to make sure my longer drip is on this side. Would help if I move that so you can see. So I've got my longer drip, which will stick on the longer drip there. We'll line it up. Be as neat and accurate as you can. And then gently push down to get it stuck. Because once again, we don't want to smush that glue anywhere. We'll be able to see it. This side, the side that was drawn on the acetate, will go on the inside of the card, and then we'll have the acetate side we didn't draw on the outside. And that just helps to protect against any scratching that might happen when it's coming in and out the envelope, to make sure none of the colour comes off. While the glue's drying, we'll build the card up. Got my base card here and the score line. Fold inwards along that score. It's a little tricky because there's not a lot of card. It's quite a narrow border. That's the word I'm looking for. Get that folded. If you have a brayer tool or a scraper tool or a rolling pin, then you can go down that crease to make it nice and sharp. Then next up, we'll stick our design on top. And then stick on top. Remember, the side that you drew on will be facing downwards, if you can tell. If you can't, because I've confused myself now, then it's fine. It doesn't really matter. You can sort of tell by running your finger over it, and then you can feel the brush strokes so you know which way round it goes, whereas it's really smooth on top. And then glue that on top. It lines up exactly with the edges of your base card. And don't worry that you can't really see the colours right now. They'll all start popping out once that white insert's inside. Take the front of the card, and when this goes on, it doesn't go all the way into the black rectangle. So don't add your glue onto this bit, otherwise you might put too much in. Instead, put it on the back of your rectangle. Then this sits on top again. Be careful not to push too hard so your glue doesn't come out onto that rest of the black card. There, and then give that a few seconds to dry. While it's drying, we can fold the insert. I've done mine from white cardstock, but as I said earlier, just white paper would do. It's sort of serves two purposes. One is so that you can see the colours better of the Sharpies, and the other is so that you've got a nice white bit inside the card to write on, so that your message will be nice and visible, because it would be quite difficult for me to write on that deep red. And also, if I was to write on here with nothing in there, you'll see the writing because this is still semi-transparent. You can see my hand through there. Turn it over and some glue to the back. You can either go all over like I'm doing now, or you could just go down along the fold line, fold line. Open it up. See how pretty that's looking from the inside too. And then put that in the middle. Just the tiniest bit smaller than the base card. Get this all lined up. And there, so it will still open a little bit away from the stained glass. And now those colours are looking much brighter than they did when it had the red underneath. And there we have it, our stained glass effect card made with Sharpies and acetate is all finished. And don't forget, the download folder also contains this lovely landscape design, which works in the same way. And mandala design too. I hope that you enjoy making these stained glass effect greetings cards. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more card making and Cricut tutorials. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 12 of the card making countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!